Today, I have the pleasure to interview Dr. Němec. It's a pleasure to meet you. Could you please start by introducing yourself and your research field?
My name is Pavel Němec. I'm working at Charles University in Prague at the Department of Zoology, and I'm leading a small lab of comparative neurobiology, and we are addressing evolution of brain complexity from lamprey to mammals.
What inspired you to explore this chosen research field of yours?
Well, I have started with other kind of research, like I studied visual system in mammals and then neural basis of magnetoreception. But I always wanted to study evolution of brain complexity and processing power, but there were no tools to do it quantitatively. But in 2005, Susanna Herculano-Houzel and their colleagues introduced a method that is called isotropic fractionator. And it's a method that allows you quickly and cheaply count cells and neurons and neuronal types in brain and brain parts, different brain parts. So, and there was at that time only one group using this technique, and they were specialized for mammals. So we basically took this empty niche and start to analyze neuron numbers in submammalian vertebrates. So we basically do all vertebrates but mammals.
Wow, really interesting. And really, it's a pleasure to have you as one of our plenary speakers for the upcoming Congress. Could you maybe introduce or also summarize your work that you're going to present for a person with no specific background knowledge in human ethology, biology, or even psychology?
In my talk, I should touch the fact that birds are very smart, and that it is basically quite surprising because absolute size of their brains is small. And this is kind of paradoxical situation that you would not expect. But I will show you that they have specific means how to tackle that problem, that they have small neurons tightly packed in forebrain, and at the end they have many neurons in very small brains, and that makes them so smart. And we will show that there is really statistical correlation between forebrain neurons in birds and their propensity to innovate as a proxy for intelligence. And in the next part, we will just show that basically design of avian forebrains quite different to what we know in mammals, but in there are same organizational principles, and the same computing principles, and that the same behaviors underlie very similar neural mechanisms, which, however, are processed by non-homological brain regions. Altogether, we will show that there is a quite strong evidence that these advanced cognitive functions that use the same strategies to tackle the same cognitive problems actually evolve cognitively in birds and mammals. And finally, we will show in quantitative terms how brain complexity has evolved from amphibians to reptiles to birds and mammals, and we will show how they acquire neurons, and we will basically show that there is very few macroevolutionary steps that lead to this evolution of these highly complex brains, and that it's basically independent in birds and mammals. And then later within birds and mammals there is two additional steps of gaining complexity in primates and in so-called core land birds, and this is quite parallel and quite independent procedures, which however are quite unique, and these macroevolutionary changes were very rare that changed cellular composition of brains in sauropsid and synapsid lineage.
Oh, that's really interesting. And that's actually one of the things that I'm looking forward to most at the Congress, that I get to have and listen to all of these different topics and different talks. So what do you wish for or even expect out of this year's Congress?
Well, as comparative neurobiologist, I am really quite outside of field. So I expect most that I will learn new things and I will meet the people that I normally do not communicate with. Like I expect there will be human etologists, primatologists, and this is extremely interesting for me to get into contact with these people, with these experts. So that's and we also want to show like this broad perspective of brain evolution to audience.
I'm really looking forward to that and to listen to your talk. And if you in the audience are too, then register for the upcoming Congress, join us in Würzburg, and also you can look forward to amazing and great and really very informative exchanges with fellow scientists from all over the world. Thank you for this very informative sneak peek, Dr. Němec. And
yeah, I'm very much looking forward. Thank you very much for talking to me.
It was a pleasure. The pleasure was on my side. So thank you, and see you in Würzburg.
See you in Würzburg.